Hello everyone, yes it is Mixing Wednesday, hopefully your favourite day of the week because it's surely mine. Tube Tech is something that I've wanted to do for a long time, okay, because I'm very interested about this unit. But for anybody that doesn't know, Tube Tech, they come from Denmark and they released the two units that I'm going to be looking at today. They were released in 1985, 1987, so the mid to late 80s, and they did a pultec emulation, which is basically a clean representation of an original EQ P1A vintage style pultec EQ, and it's basically a more cleaned up version, almost like a brand new pultec, the way they see it. And then you've got the Tube Tech CL1B, that is their all tube optical compressor, and that is basically trying to do like an LA2A style compression, but much more cleaner and more transparent. LA2As are known to have a lot of colour and a lot of warmth, so the CL1B is kind of Tube Tech's way of giving you that kind of tube warmth without the kind of overriding colour, and it's more transparent and more smoother. So in terms of the plug-in emulations that you've got SOFTUBE. They've got the license from Tube Tech, so again you can see they've actually got Tube Tech in their name. And then you've got the Acoustica Audio Titanium, they 100% do the pultec, and they also do the SMC 2B multiband, and there is quite a lot of debate if you're on the Acoustica page surrounding the Titanium 1B. Long story short, the Titanium 1B has the exact same attack and release times as the Tube Tech CL1B. Everybody has been told that they never sampled a CL1B, but the attack and release times are the exact same, and I am a complete audio geek and I am autistic, so I fell down the rabbit hole and I did notice little things like, I say little things, they're big things, like the description of the Titanium 1B in the manual is nearly a carbon copy for the description of Tube Tech's description of CL1B in their manual. It must be pretty close, even if they didn't sample the CL1B, because the multiband has the same tubes as the CL1B, and it has the same overall THD as well. So if you sampled the SMC2B, in terms of like harmonics and tonally, again they're both all tube compressors, so I'd imagine this sounds pretty close. But we definitely know that the pultec is the Tube Tech pultec, because there is an unofficial Acoustica Audio emulation list that you guys can check out as well. I'll leave a link to that as well. In terms of what we're going to be shooting out today, I'm going to be doing the CL1B first, and that's going to be on bass and vocals, as that's normally the most popular use of this compressor, and then we'll get into the pultec. So first, let's just get straight into the Tube Tech. Now the Tube Tech is much more cleaner than the LA2A, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the harmonics kind of just here on the screen, okay? A lot of harmonics in the LA3, the Opticom, but there's actually more harmonics and there's actually more intermodulation distortion in the SOFTUBE version, and really it should be much cleaner, which again you can see from the Titanium. And when it comes to sampling hardware, I do normally say that Acoustica is the best. I trust Acoustica, and as you can see it's much cleaner, and intermodulation distortion is much less as well. So really to me the SOFTUBE should probably really be closer to the Acoustica. However, for anybody that doesn't know, these plugins came out about 10 years ago. I definitely know the pultec came out in 2010, so it's like 10-year-old technology. So it is kind of what it is, right? So let's get straight into it, and let's try it first on bass, and let's just see how we got on. So we've got the SOFTUBE Tube Tech, I couldn't really say it there, and we've got the Acoustica Titanium 1B. Right, so first off on bass, definitely 100%, the Titanium 1B sounds better to me. It's clearer to me and the low end's better. Again, if you disagree, comments down below. So that's just my opinion, but I do think you guys will agree that the Acoustica wins out for me here. So I've identified that I like the Acoustica better, okay, in terms of bass. So how about in terms of just the actual Tube Tech sound? Let's actually see which one I prefer in terms of what I've been using just now. So just now I'm using the Acoustica Audio Camel Super Comp. I don't actually know what like. It's emulating like loads of different things brought together. I think it's like a Calrec compressor, but there's loads of different stuff as well. Pretty sure like they used like something to do with the Jade compressor as well. I think. I don't know for sure. It just sounds amazing. So let's actually see if I prefer the Tube Tech over the Camel. Again, I don't know what the Camel is, but I definitely know it's not an optical compressor. So let's see how we get on. Right, so in terms of the Tube Tech on a bass, I do prefer the Camel. I'm not saying that the Titanium doesn't sound great, it sounds amazing. It's just that I prefer the Camel. The Camel just, and to me, the low end is definitely coming out a little bit more. It's got a little bit more colour to it, but it's not overly coloured like you would find like in an LA2. And I'm going to let you hear what the LA2 sounds like because we're going to go to the vocals next. So we'll just say, for me, I'd say personally, in terms of the Tube Tech CL1B sound, I prefer the Camel. But yeah, the CL1B does sound really cool. Right, okay, so let's go straight to vocals. So in terms of vocals, this is basically the setting that I find the CL1B used the most. A lot of people say they love the transparency of it. It really brings out clarity and it's really smooth, and you can hit it really hard and it doesn't pump. This is actually something that I found in the SOFTUBE. I'm not going to show you like the SOFTUBE actually pumping, but it does, and you can try it for yourself. Actually, there's a video by is it Reid Stefan or Stefan Reid, I can't remember his name. It's the guy who's got the puppet, man. It's like really, really weird. It's like, why am I listening to a puppet? I'm like, what's going on? But yeah, they did a really cool video of the real deal Tube Tech CL1B versus the SOFTUBE. And again, you can hear the pumping, and there is massive differences for me in terms of just kind of like the low end and overall clarity of the hardware versus the plug-in. And I think you're going to hear again the Acoustica kind of doing what it did in the bass. Again, it's close, but the Acoustica is clearer, it's slightly better on the low end. Right, okay, so let's just get into it, okay, right? So what I've got going on is I've got a V76 U73B fast attack, fast release, because I kind of use these style of compressors as vocal levelers, and there's a vocal leveler shootout as well that I do suggest you check out. But let's just go side by side. I'm pretty sure the way I had it set up was, I think it was a fast attack and kind of like a mid release on both compressors. Again, compressing probably between like 5 to 7 dB after a fast kind of FET style compressor. Okay, so let's do it and let's see which one I prefer.
There is a man in my dream knocking on my head, and I've given all I have to be given. There is a man in my dream knocking on my head, and I've given all I have to be given. There is a man in my dream knocking on my head, and I've given all I have to be given. There is a man in my dream knocking on my head, and I've given all I have to be given. There is a man in my dream knocking on my head, and I've given all I have to be given. There is a man in my dream knocking on my head, and I've given all I have to be given.
So again, the titanium wins out for me. That one was a little bit closer. Again, I think that they are quite close, but again, I think it's the harmonics in there, and I think it's kind of the muddiness from the intermodulation distortion that it just sounds muddy compared to the titanium. The SOFTUBE still sounds good. I'm not saying it's a crap plugin. It's just it's quite expensive. Okay, it's quite expensive, especially the whole bundle. And you can pick up the titanium quite cheap. I mean, if you're with control room, you get it 50% off. Titanium did win out. Again, if you disagree, let me know in the comments down below. But I do think that's probably down to the fact that the harmonics for me just aren't right. And I'm hearing in this Reid Stefan video, or Stefan Reid, I forgot his name, the guy, the puppet guy. let's just call him the puppet guy, right? And the video that the puppet guy did, the differences for me, I could kind of, the differences in the titanium are kind of close to the differences I heard in his video, where it was the SOFTUBE versus the hardware. And I can kind of hear the titanium sounds more like the hardware, like it did in his video. So what you're going to now want to hear is, Paul, you never actually showed us the difference between the Tube Tech CL1B and what it's actually meant to be emulating in a clean version. So let's go into vocals, and I've got kind of vocals set the same way. But obviously what you need to know is that when the Tube Tech CL1B came out in 1987, I'm pretty sure, it was kind of one of the first times that you had an all-tube opto compressor like the LA2A that allowed you to have controls over your attack, release, your ratio and your threshold. You've got to remember, LA2A is just input and output. That's it, right? That's it. And again, it's much cleaner as well. So not only did you have all tube opto, but you also had less colour and more control. So let's get into this and let's just hear the difference, to me, in my opinion, because I do think the Titanium 1B is kind of more what I hear from the hardware. So let's do Tube Tech CL1B versus a LA2A style compressor.
There is a man in my dream knocking on my head, and I've given all I have to be given. There is a man in my dream knocking on my head, and I've given all I have to be given. There is a man in my dream knocking on my head, and I've given all I have to be given. There is a man in my dream knocking on my head, and I've given all I have to be given. There is a man in my dream knocking on my head, and I've given all I have to be given. There is a man in my dream knocking on my head, and I've given all I have to be given.
Now, this one makes a little bit more sense to me in terms of the differences, because I've read in many places online that the Tube Tech, in terms of vocals, if you had a really good singer, you would probably use the Tube Tech on it because it's really going to enhance that and that clarity and that smoothness, and it really brings out the vocal. Where if you've got a singer that isn't as good or not great, then again the saturation and the overall colour of the LA2A can actually work to hide a few things, where you kind of like open bare kind of thing with the CL1B. And I can hear that. You can hear the differences in terms of the saturation, the colour of like the LA2A compared to the CL1B. And I do think that from the LA2A emulations I've heard, the Plugin Alliance Opticom XLA3 does a really good job, and it has some great colour. I love the colour and the warmth of it. Again, it's got its place and its time in a certain setting. But yeah, that to me sounds like the differences that I've kind of heard in other videos. Very impressed. There you go. There's the Tube Tech CL1B compressor. Let me know what you guys think. I would definitely like to hear the hardware. If I can get my hands on the hardware, that's something that I would really like to do. But I don't have the hardware, right? So let's move on, okay? Great compressor, right? very, very, very good. I understand why people love the Tube Tech. So let's move on to the Pultec. Now the Pultec is the thing that I'm really, really excited to show you, because a part of this became an absolute game changer for me, and this is why I love these videos, because I learn more probably than what you guys learn from these videos. I'm not here to teach us anything. Again, there's other guys doing mixing advice, but hopefully from these plugin shootouts you kind of see how I set up certain plugins and how I use them. Hopefully that maybe might help you out as well. Now the Pultec that Tube Tech brought out, it was 1985. Again, it's a cleaner. They basically came out and stated that it's kind of meant to sound like a new Pultec. So obviously the original old EQ P1As, again, they're highly modified. You'll find that a lot of the vintage Pultecs again have tubes and valves replaced. Same thing, tubes, valves, sorry. They get replaced quite a lot, and they get modified because again they are quite noisy units, which you can see from the Realtek. So again, the Realtek is what I use for my emulation. It's the only really way I can see what's going on underneath the hood. So again, the differences between the two is that the curves are very, very similar. They're nearly the exact same in terms of the way the curves work. But in terms of the harmonics are much more different. The Realtek has almost like a big hump of intermodulation distortion in the lows. I think that's to me what gives you that really big bass boost. And again, it's got way more harmonics than the Titanium. The Titanium doesn't have a lot of harmonics at all. It's very, very light. And what's really strange, you see the SOFTUBE, again the harmonics are different, and they are emulating the exact same. I can tell you that there is an unofficial Acoustica emulation list. I'll put a link down below as well, and it tells you what it is, right? And all the Acoustica guys have like inside knowledge and stuff, and that's what it's based off of. It's based off that that Pultec that Tube Tech made. So it's interesting to me how the harmonics in the SOFTUBE is it's more higher order harmonics. Again, they're much higher up, but it's kind of lower order harmonics in the Tube Tech and the Titanium, and I don't know why that is. It's very odd to me. I just find it a bit strange. And there's definitely more intermodulation distortion going on in the SOFTUBE as well. Again, it's kind of, to me, it's a little bit more like the original, because I'm expecting transparency and I'm expecting clarity from the Tube Tech. Right, so first off, let's have a look at Mixbus, okay? So the way I've kind of got these set up is I'm kind of doing the low end trick around 30 Hertz, and then I've got the 3K boost at its widest broadband setting, and then I'm dipping a bit of 20K as well, just the way I like to use it on a Mixbus. So let's actually hear what the three of them sound like. So we've got the two Tube Techs, and we've got the original EQ P1A in the form of the Noise Ash Realtek. Okay, so let's hear the difference on Mixbus. Before I say anything else, how bloody amazing was the Titanium? My God, is that not just brilliant, isn't it? It's just fucking amazing. The lows are probably the tightest lows I've ever heard on a Pultec, and the highs are super crisp. In comparison to the SOFTUBE just sounds like the fucking original Pultec. It just sounds like the Realtek, but not as good. I don't know what SOFTUBE are doing, but it just sounds like more like an original Pultec. I don't like it. I'd say just don't waste your money if you're looking for an actual Tube Tech, because the hardware variations that I've heard online sounds more like the Titanium, and that sounds amazing in comparison to the Realtek. Again, it's the original Pultecs kind of sound a little bit smeary, and then they're two coloured, and they add lots of great energy and warmth and lots of glue, where I kind of find the Titanium and the Tube Tech is more 3D, and I'm not getting that out of the SOFTUBE. It sounds more like the Realtek. So that was really interesting for me. So we've kind of done that test, and I've got to now add in another test for all you Acoustica audio guys, because I am on the Acoustica audio forums, and what a lot of people were asking me was, Paul, can you please tell me what the difference is between the Titanium titanium and the purple. So the Acoustica Audio purple, which I don't use, I just prefer the noise ash for the original emulation. I just prefer it. So a lot of people were like, no, we love purple and we love it for the low end. So can you please do a quick shootout on a mix bus to be able to show us the difference between the titanium, the Tube Tech versus the purple. So very quickly, here's it on mix bus. I've got it in 2 different settings. The first one will be kind of at 20 Hz with the low end. Again, I'll keep the high end the same with the 3K kind of broadband boost, okay? And then on the low end, I'll do 20 Hz, really cranking the inputs on these Acoustica models. What you'll find is if you crank the input, you're going to be actually, it doesn't do anything to the level, it just adds in more harmonics and you're driving the pre harder. Then the second one I'll do it at 30 Hz on the low end, and then I'll bring back the input and kind of have the purple a little bit more cleaner, just so you can hear them both at settings. So without further ado, let's hear how that sounds. So hopefully we can all agree that the titanium is bloody awesome and the Tube Tech, it just sounds amazing. I understand why Tube Techs are so popular. It sounds amazing. I prefer, much prefer the titanium to the pultec of the purple. Again, they've got their uses. Okay. And in terms of, you say, Paul, which one's better? It's like, nah, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Not one is better than the other. They're 2 different units. One's cleaner and one's more vintage and vibrant, giving you more like tube saturation, older valves and stuff. So they have their uses. For me on a mix bus, I would prefer titanium because it's cleaner. But in terms of adding colour and energy and vibe and a bit more glue and overall low end weight, not 3D low end weight, but kind of overall weight, I would say the original pultecs do a really good job, and the purple kind of, that's how I would use it. But yeah, Tube Techs are fucking amazing. But there's one thing that I wanted to show you. Now, everybody might be saying, Paul, you're saying to me that you love this this pultec. You absolutely adore this pultec on mix bus. But you said a little while ago that the BetterMaker was a game changer, and you're just going to change your tune now. Well, as always, guys, right? I am an honest fella, and I always like to prove anything I say. So I am going to say, in terms of a actual pultec hardware emulation, I would say the Tube Tech is probably the best that I've heard, the titanium. However, is it better than the BetterMaker? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have them set the same way, okay? I'm going to have them set the exact same way, and I'm actually going to, I want you guys to listen to the difference of what the BetterMaker does compared to the Tube Tech. What you might find that the Tube Tech is going to be, has better lows, better highs, way wider, where the BetterMaker is giving you this overall magic kind of in the mids and the middle. So let's kind of see how that sounds. So, as you can hopefully hear, right, I'll try and wrap this video up quickly, okay, but I just want you to hear this, that definitely, right, the titanium for me has the best low end, high end sparkle. The high end's good in the BetterMaker, but again it's crisper in the titanium, but it's kind of a little bit hollow, probably the way that the curve works. That again is dipping that mid range, but I just don't know the difference of the units. But the BetterMaker has better clarity in the mids, and it's just there. It doesn't lose that clarity in the mids. So I was like, right, okay, the two of them I both like, and the two of them are kind of missing bits, and kind of the BetterMaker I almost feel might actually slot into that mid position that I feel like is quite hollow in the titanium. So let's try that out, okay? So let's have the titanium, the BetterMaker, and the titanium with the BetterMaker. So I've kept the titanium in the exact same settings, the Tube Tech, but what I've done is I've used 100 Hz in the pultec of the BetterMaker, not used the high band, okay? And I'm just again simple, maybe 1 to 2 dB low end trick at 100 Hz, and then I've added in the 8K boost that I love in the BetterMaker. Let's try the two of them together and let's see if this is much as a game changer. For me, that's what I think it is. Hopefully what you could hear there is how amazing these two are together. I love the BetterMaker and I love titanium. Put the two of them together, it's a perfect match, and I feel that I've got the mids, I've got the lows, I've got the highs, I've got the width. It just sounds amazing, and it's a combo. Hopefully if you try it out you might enjoy it as well. And I had to show you guys because that is going to be fixed on my mix bus now without a shadow of a doubt. So we've done that, so let's sum up this video. I'm going to sum up this video by saying one thing: Tube Tech is amazing. It sounds amazing, guys, okay? CL1B is a fantastic compressor, and the pultec, that pultec is just amazing. And I love the fact that I've now got the Noise Ash Rail Tech, and I've got the titanium. I've got an original style pultec that gives me that warm valve, just like colour, a beautiful colour. But I've got the titanium 1B that's giving me a cleaner version of a pultec. With the pultec curls, it sounds like analog, and it's giving me that kind of high-end sparkle, a low-end weight. And then I've got a BetterMaker in the middle. So it's not enough chef kisses. In terms of the soft tube, I'm going to say it. Sorry guys, but save your money and go for titanium, right? Just go for it, because in the end you can get the soft tube collection, you can buy them separately, but if you're with Control Room then you can get titanium for half price, and it's going to be cheaper. I've not done prices for it in this video, but I'll put whatever the prices are, and you guys can make your mind up. But Black Friday's coming up as well. But for me, Tube Tech, I would say the Acoustica Titanium is the winner every day of the week. It sounds better in both instances. The harmonics look and sound more like what I've heard. And again, check out Reid Stefan's video, the puppet guy. Check out the puppet guy's video, and hopefully you can maybe agree with me that the differences in the hardware but the plugins is kind of like the soft tube and the titanium, and I would love to do a shoot of them too. Blah 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 blah. But again, loads and loads of stuff. Check out the playlist, subscribe, and I'll see you again next week when I figure out what I've got for you. But again, remember, if you're you have me on Instagram as well, I'll start posting more stuff to Instagram so you know what's coming up. And again, check the community part of my channel as well, so you guys can keep up to date with that as well. Okay, so hopefully the next time you see me I'm on 1,000 subscribers. If not, it fucking doesn't matter, because it'll be soon enough. So thank you very much guys for your support, I really appreciate it. See you next week.